This is ANN News Brief.
Good morning, I'm Lucy Adeyemi. A flight from Nairobi to Kabonde airstrip in Homa Bay town in Kenya was delayed for more than an hour after locals held demonstrations on Monday. They were protesting against delayed compensation for their land acquired to expand the airport. Angry residents accused Kenyan Airport Authority of failure to pay 120 families whose land was acquired for the 2017 project. Both young and old carried twigs and banners, marched at the airstrip's terminal from dawn, and threatened to damage the airport's property. There was tension when some villagers intimidated passengers, mainly foreigners who wanted to travel to Nairobi. Airport workers had to rescue travelers who were being roughed up by the locals. The airport manager was unable to calm them. It took the police to quell the tension. Zimbabwe Finance Minister says the country will soon introduce a central bank reference rate as part of measures the government wants to use to prop up the collapsing economy. Finance Minister Mthuli Ncube says having a reference rate will help the country manage monetary policy. The country also plans to introduce a new fully fledged currency in the next year. It also plans to close the gap between the rate for dollars and the official and parallel market using RTGS dollars, which the government introduced in February. The measures come as the government scrambles to end the currency shortage that has pushed inflation to the highest rate since 2008 and sparked shortages of fuel and bread. The troubles stem from the country abandoning the Zimbabwe dollar in 2009 after a bout of hyperinflation in favor of the greenback. In 2016, it introduced the bond notes to fund rampant spending, but they were not accepted outside the country. The Minister of Finance said in an emailed statement that while Zimbabwe's estimated economic expansion of 4% was less than the target the government itself had set, fourth quarter revenue of more than $1.5 billion exceeded its goal of slightly more than $1 billion. Stay with us, we'll be back after this message.
This used to be me. But that was before I got the perfect bag. It's handy and easy to use. All I need in one compact space, just like my MTN Extra Value plan. I used to get one plan for my calls and then try to remember which data plan worked for me. Roaming was a totally different ballgame. Not anymore. I've got the MTN Extra Value all-in-one plan. If you're a data buff like me, you get extra data with some talk time. And if you like to make calls, you get extra talk time with some data. And when I'm abroad, I automatically browse, chat, and call right on the same plan. MTN Extra Value was made just for me.
More of data or calls, whichever one you prefer. MTN Extra Value is made just for you.
The government of Central African Republic has been clamoring for the lifting of United Nations arms embargo imposed on the country in the wake of the war that broke out in 2013. It argues that relative peace has since returned to the country following presidential and parliamentary elections that propelled President Faustin Archange Touadera to power. The government has described those elections as transparent and democratic. CAR has made several representations to the UN Security Council on why the embargo should be lifted. So a week ago, the UN body expressed its readiness to review the arms restrictions. It announced benchmarks to guide its decision to either suspend or progressively lift the restriction later this year. UN Security President for April has announced on the UN website that the Council will establish clear and well-identified key benchmarks by the end of April. These are to measure CAR's progress in performing the security sector, advancing disarmament, demobilization, reintegration and rehabilitation of former combatants, and managing weapons and ammunition. That's ANN News Brief. Thanks for watching. For details on these and other stories, visit our website, annafrica.net. Also join the conversation on Facebook, facebook.com/ANN Africa TV, Instagram and Twitter at ANN Africa TV. I am Lucy Adeyemi.